So we will get ready, guys. Welcome to Gemcast Live. We are reading today Those Quiet Corners, Chapter 6, from HopelessChloromantic, the absolutely awesome moderator of our servers, tolerating all of our silliness. Chapter 6, Those Quiet Corners. The moment they stepped inside, the city's chill vanished, replaced by the warmth of paper, lavender, and something earthy and green. Fern the cat prowled along the front counter, his tail curling like a question mark through the golden candlelight. Beside the register, a little flame flickered, throwing shadows over the scattered books and tiny ceramic trinkets. Holly's eyes widened as she took in the scene, every detail coaxing out a kind of wonder she hadn't felt since childhood. She barely had time to process it before a voice called out, gentle, but no nonsense. "Fern, off!" A woman in a shawl swept out from the back room and gathered the orange tabby in her arms, offering them both a warm smile, as if she'd been expecting them all along. The shop breathed around them, shelves towering, creaking under the weight of books stacked by mood and magic rather than by genre. Fern, now settled atop the philosophy section, blinked lazily as vines trailed from pots above, and fairy lights blinked among the greenery. The whole space felt alive, like a secret garden masquerading as a bookstore. Like time might slow for anyone who dared enter. Holly let out a low, delighted laugh. "This place is so you," she said, and still enthralled. Ariel's smile was shy but proud. "I found it in my second year here. Sometimes I'd come just to sit in the back and pretend I was somewhere else." They wandered shoulder to shoulder, drifting slowly between stacks. Holly lingered over covers she didn't recognize, her fingertips grazing the spines. Ariel moved toward her favorite seat in the far corner, beneath a skylight, the armrests worn smooth from years of quiet readers. "So this is your favorite spot?" Holly asked, voice soft, afraid to disturb the hush. Ariel looked up and patted the seat. "Yes. When it storms, you can hear the rain on the glass above. Even when people are talking, it stays quiet, like the whole place is whispering." Holly sat, close enough to their shoulders that their shoulders brushed. "I get it," she whispered. "It's like time presses pause in here." They lingered in that silence, letting it work on them. The world outside had slipped away. No city noise, no deadlines. Only the warm glow and the gentle thrum of stories waiting to be found. Ariel's gaze drifted, landing on Holly's face, her heart swelling in a way she'd never quite expected. But the bookshelves called them onward. Holly followed Ariel through a labyrinth of crooked rows, low-hanging plants brushing her hair. She felt the space open up inside her, the weight she carried softening under the shop's magic. "I always end up in the fantasy," Ariel said, caressing the cover of a battered paperback. "Quiet magic. Stories that feel real, even when they aren't." "Cozy weird," Holly grinned, plucking a graphic novel from the shelf. "I call it that. Like slipping on warm socks even if there's a curse or a time loop involved." Ariel laughed, a clear, gentle sound that made Holly's chest tighten. in the nicest ways. She watched the way Ariel glowed under the amber light. How the careful reserve she'd seen at the cafe faded in this place. Here, Ariel's smile was whole. Her voice was sure. They drifted over to a table of staff picks, Ariel tucking books under her arms, Holly running her hands over titles with messy, playful covers. When Ariel finally settled into her favorite nook by the window, Holly lingered, watching her nestle into the cushion, the way Ariel settled herself. Hips filling the seat, and thighs pressed together beneath her skirt. It was beautiful and unhidden. Holly stood there a moment longer, chest warm with something between admiration and awe. She wanted to memorize this image. Ariel, utterly at home. Sunlight, brushing her hair. Every line and curve aglow in the shop's gentle hush. It was the kind of beauty that quietly asked to be witnessed. She turned back to the shelves, determined to find something to make Ariel smile again. A few minutes later, Holly returned, mischief in her eyes, and a small box in her hands. She set it before Ariel, flipping the lid open. Okay, look at this madness. Inside a memory match game. 64 thick cards with swirling designs, so similar they might drive anyone else mad. Found it under the weird hobby section, Holly said, grinning. No clue how anyone finishes it. The patterns are barely different. Ariel's eyes brightened with curiosity. I could probably do it, she said, voice almost a whisper. Holly's brow lifted, half challenging, half intrigued. Oh yeah? Prove it, Red. She began laying out the cards, glancing up at Ariel's serious and focused expression. Holly's heart thudded, mostly from nerves. Was this about to get awkward? But the spark in Ariel's eyes made her lean in, bracing herself for some fun. Maybe a little embarrassment with the comfortable teasing that had grown between them. Ariel scanned the spread, her gaze flicking over every card, lips barely parted. Holly watched her, feeling the hush grow heavier, the bookstore's quiet wrapping around them. Ariel's concentration was total, reverent. The light caught the green of her eyes, and for a moment, Holly felt like she was witnessing a kind of magic. Ariel closed her eyes. Ready. Holly's hands fumbled as she flipped every card face down. Her chest fluttered with anticipation, expecting Ariel to struggle, but hoping she wouldn't. She had to remind herself to breathe. Ariel reached forward, her hand steady and sure, then flipped over the first two cards. A perfect match. Holly let out a tiny, involuntary gasp. She couldn't help it. Ariel kept going, pair after pair. Her movements fluid and confident, almost dreamlike in their certainty. Each match made Holly's pulse jump a little. She found herself growing more and more silent, her usual stream of commentary cut short by awe. At first, she glanced at the backs of the cards, thinking maybe they were marked. But no, there was nothing but repetition of tiny, swirling patterns. Ariel didn't pause, didn't squint or hesitate. She just moved. And each time, she was right. Holly's breath caught on the final pair. She realized she was leaning forward, elbows braced on the table, chin in her hands, eyes wide as a child's. There was no trick here. Ariel finished. set her hands in her lap, and looked up. Her cheeks were faintly pink, but her smile was small, self-contained, and almost bashful. Holly stared, mouth open. "What was that? Are you a witch?" Ariel only smiled, folding her hands. "No, I just remember things. Everything." Holly, still brimming with amazement, asked quietly, "Is it always like that? I mean, is, your mind always, that sharp?" Ariel looked down at her hands, a small thoughtful smile on her lips. "It's not really sharp. More like sticky. Everything just kind of stays with me. Sometimes it's too much, but sometimes it's nice." Holly nodded, chin propped into her palm. "I think that's wild. I barely remember where I leave my keys most days. What's it like, knowing you'll remember this?" She gestured at the table between them. The soft light, the half-empty cups. "All of it?" Ariel's gaze softened. "It means I get to keep the good moments, even the quiet ones." She took a deep, gentle breath, speaking softer. "Especially the quiet ones." Holly smiled, touched by the sincerity in Ariel's answer. "That actually sounds kind of beautiful. A little overwhelming, but beautiful." Ariel's eyes flicked up, meeting Holly's. Both of them quiet for a moment, letting the weight of that admission settle between them. "So you really remember everything?" "Most of it. I've learned how to tune out some things, but if I focus, yeah." Holly's eyes sparkled, teasing now. "All right, memory girl. What was I wearing yesterday?" Ariel glanced down, then met Holly's gaze again. "Okay," she said softly. "Your hair was loose. You had on that oversized mustard yellow shirt. The one with the thread pulled near the hem on the left sleeve. You wore a denim jacket. The blue reflected in your hazel eye. Your apron was navy, a little wrinkled, and there was a small coffee stain just below the pocket. The top button was chipped, and one of the stitches near the strap on your right side had come undone. Oh, you wore those chunky white sneakers with pink soles, and a pair of flamingo earrings that you called tropical mood stabilizers." By the time she finished, Holly's mouth was dropped open in stunned delight. Holly could only shake her head, unable to hide the awe in her voice. "You really are something else, Red." She wanted to know more. Wanted to tell Ariel how incredible it felt to be seen like that, to be remembered, in such loving, impossible detail. It was overwhelming. The way someone could notice so much about her, store it all away, and then recall it so gently. Holly's heart fluttered, her cheeks a little pink. All she could do was look at Ariel with something close to reverence. A shaky laugh tumbled out of her. "Seriously? I don't think anyone's ever noticed half that much about me, let alone remembered. You could write a poem about my socks at this rate." Ariel chuckled, putting her hands over her face in embarrassment. "You don't want that. I'm too technical to write good poetry." They stayed, as the light changed. Minutes blurred into an hour, and then more. Conversation lingered, never running out. Sometimes plainful, sometimes quiet, sometimes a little philosophical as they traded favorite books or memories of childhood library visits. Holly made Ariel laugh, telling the story of the time she accidentally set off a fire alarm at a small town library and got banned for a whole summer. Ariel countered with her memory of reading under the covers as a kid, the flashlight tucked under her chin, terrified her parents would catch her up past midnight. The shop began to empty out, chairs pushed in, and soft music fading beneath the sound of the final register tally. Lamp light grew deeper, golden, until the place felt suspended between worlds. Holly didn't want the moment to end. She kept finding excuses to stay, questions to ask, even just enjoying the silence between them, broken only by Fern's sleepy meows as he demanded scratches. Finally, Holly stretched in her seat, reluctant to break the spell. "I should let you go," she said, voice low and soft. "But thanks for sharing this. I feel like somewhere I want to come back to. Ariel's voice was quiet but sure. "You can. Anytime." Holly smiled, lingering at the door before nudging it open. The bell jingled, and together they stepped out into the gentle wash of evening, the bookshop's magic still clinging to their skin. End of chapter. Hopeless. I love the tone of this chapter. It reads really easily to tell like the vibe going on right there. Like you can tell there's. It's weird because like it's you say it's not a date, right? But it reads so much to have that tension in there to where you as the reader have that kind of question of is it not? You know, and I love that. Hey, this is a good question. Have you been able to do that successfully without feeling like you're alienating your fan base? That's kind of like a tough thing to ask, I know, and I apologize. Gotcha. I do apologize if I gave kind of weird tones. The way Ariel reads, Ariel seemed like kind of that withdrawn type of like, yeah, okay, good. I hope I did a decent job with that. Good. Thanks. It sounded that. So wait, so you're telling me you have trouble with male characters? That's really interesting to hear that because like I have the actual opposite issue. Like in my third book in my series, I'm actually stuck focusing more on female characters now, and that's really tricky for me because that's a tough area for me to write. So like, I would as a male author, another male author, I would love to hear how you feel comfortable or what your processing is when you're going for female characters. Yeah, I can. This will sound silly, but I can kind of gauge the things. I need to stop doing this, but I do have the chat actually up whenever I'm reading. I do my best to like not look at it at all, but I actually paused and giggled whenever I saw your first comment. But I can tell that people are actually engaging better with the story when I'm getting less comments in the chat, which means that like yeah, the characters come alive, and so I was like, wow, this is smooth. It's smooth here. I like this chapter. Hey, time out, time out. A Hallmark movie requires a shirtless, random, hot guy from your hometown who tells you that everything's better when you stay home. We're joking, obviously. We're joking. I just make fun of that trope, because it's like which career woman is going to end up, in her hometown and meet the guy of her dreams that lives on a farm this year. No, no, no. We're being silly. We're being silly. But I gotta ask. I mean, this is kind of a very you picked the chapter six, which obviously means that there's prior chapters that have things going on, things developing, yada yada. Is it what is the it? Is this like a peak type of vibe moment, or is this like a the initial embers moment, or is this like a normal chapter? Okay, okay, okay. Scale of one to hey, you just wrote something that kids should never look at. Where would you rank like? Okay, yeah. So you go from cozy to come for me. I'm sorry. They're gonna be good. I mean, definitely a fun vibe for sure because sometimes you want to get that let's see some violence times, and sometimes it's just like let's get cozy in a library. Like I was like, yeah, what's up? I'm in a blanket right now. Let's go. Thank you, Hopeless. All right.